Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back, guys. I'm antsy. I'm itching. I want to see this Hard Knocks episode. I don't know if all you guys watched the New York Giants episodes. I rewatched them all again. And I'm going to give my thoughts on what we're going to see in Hard Knocks tonight, but also of where things are with the Bears. I just get on and I free talk a little bit of live. That's what you guys have started to find from my channel. So what's up, Greg B? What's up, Mikey? What's up, Antmus? Good to have all you guys in the chat. That's right. Puke emoji. Cheese emoji, puke emoji, cheese emoji. Sick of the Packers already. So welcome to you guys. I don't know who else is stoked about this, but I'm as excited for Hard Knocks as I am for an actual game. Like, I am so stoked to see what happens because I just rewatched the Giants Hard Knocks and it screamed little brother complex. That's kind of how I saw it, and unprofessionalism. And I think the biggest thing you're going to see on the Bears is you're going to see that Matt Eberflus mentality of just hits principle, doing the little things, repetition, professionalism, putting in the reps. You're going to see that a lot tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I also think there's a lot of fun things you're going to see between like Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and Caleb Williams and their personality. So that's the stuff I think most fans are excited to see tonight, is that background behind the scenes stuff. If you didn't see the little interview with Caleb Williams where him talking about Keenan Allen, where when they both moved here, they basically shared a hotel for the first little bit. They're playing cards every night, getting to know each other. So I want to see that kind of stuff on Hard Knocks tonight. That's what I want to see. It's T-minus 1 hour and 13 minutes away. So just killing a little bit of time here with some of my thoughts on the Bears camp, some of my thoughts on where things stand. Mark Donald, thanks for tuning in. King Buka World, always good to see you. Jay Carr, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all you guys. All right, so let's talk about training camp today and overall, because what you see a lot is overreaction like crazy, and I do it too. I'm guilty of it nonstop, especially with Nate Davis. Like, we all get into this Nate Davis craziness of overreacting. The reality is he's a good guard. We're really frustrated we're not seeing him. We're really frustrated he's injured all the time. We're really frustrated he missed time last year. We're really frustrated with the entire situation with him. But the reality is he's a good guard. And this front five is solid. Like, it really is. Even if you saw the video today, in fact, I should do this more often. I just pull up Twitter. Let's just pull up Twitter and see what we find there. All right, so let's refresh it. I always have Chicago Bears. Let's just do Bears again. It's nice and big so you guys can see it. First thing that pops up. All right, so here's the stuff from Nick Wright predicting the Bears to go to the Super Bowl. Number one, let's hit this right off the bat. Why are we ducking it? Like, Caleb Williams even said, why duck it? Like, I don't understand everyone's – I get the QB PTSD. I get the whole let him go out and play some games, not put the unrealistic expectations. You even saw Nick Saban on with Matt Eberflus in the preview for Hard Knocks. If you haven't, there's a little clip. There's a little clip they put out with Nick Saban, Matt Eberflus sitting at the conference table talking about the pressure that's going to be put on him. And now I've put out there a lot about adjusted completion percentage and accuracy. And that's one of the hardest things for these young quarterbacks to come into the league. Let's remove this for a second. We'll get back to it. One of the hardest things, even as you go back and you look at Joe Burrow and C.J. Stroud last year and Tua Tagovailoa, I mean, if you go way back and you look, the only one that hasn't had that difficulty in being accurate their first year is Pat Mahomes. And he really sat out, and it was really his second year. But you look at quarterbacks like Jordan Love, who is fourth year, he finally starts, and he was ass as far as accuracy. But normally a quarterback coming into the league has a difficulty being accurate that first year because you're adapting to the NFL level. Well, the Bears have built an all-star cast around them. And that's what Nick Wright's saying, is this team can absolutely go to the Super Bowl. And I'm saying, why duck it? Like, I'm with it all the way. Yeah, I agree with you. I hate the fact that Nick Wright is on the bandwagon. It's fine. I'm not seeing a Super Bowl this year with the O-line. Okay, JC1, we're going to get there. So many people feel the exact same way. Let's do it, KO. Highlighting you coming in. I understand, but you have to understand there's so many guys this time in camp that are out anyways. Trent Williams is sitting out. I mean, there's a whole list of injuries that go across the entire league. Puka Nacua is sitting out. People aren't frustrated with him. Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon sitting out today, and you don't see fans going at his neck. The problem is Nate Davis missing time last year and us being so concerned about that interior offensive line. Now, you listen to Matt Eberflus today talk about how when guys miss time, what creates competition is when someone plays really well at a starter level, when that player should have been in there playing. So it stirs the pot a little bit more. But let's be really, really, really realistic about where things stand with this team. They've already said Nate Davis is the starting guard when he's healthy, when he's playing. I know it's easy for us to overreact. I know it's easy for us to go crazy on it. The real deficiency here is how he played last year when he did play was very average, kind of like Coleman Shelton at center. You've got Darnell Wright, you got Braxton Jones that feel like starting caliber. Now, some people don't feel that way about Darnell Wright, but you got Tevin Jenkins that feel like higher caliber, top 15 in the league. You're talking the top tier. They definitely should be a starter on any team. But then you got Coleman Shelton, who wouldn't be a starter on any team. And you've got Nate Davis, who wouldn't be, according to last year. But if you go back a couple years, he needs the reps to get up to speed. And that's the problem. That's why everybody's so down his throat right now. But the reality is he might be playing it super duper cautious because of his injury history. Now, if he doesn't play in the games, if he doesn't play in the preseason games, if he doesn't play in the season opener, that's when I'm going to really get pissed off. That's when I'm going to have my vengeance for Nate Davis. But for us to want to get rid of him right now, I don't know. It's really hard with this offensive line where we've been. So I like the idea of Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, Coleman Shelton, Nate Davis, and Darnell Wright. That's a solid starting. I think everybody agrees that's a starting solid five. It's solid. The problem is if one of them goes down, and that's what everybody's kind of overreacting for. I also think the fact that we heard that the Titans, that Davis doesn't like to practice, and it seems to be true, ain't helping either. Yeah, agreed. But also remember, when he played that last year with the Titans, he played really, really well. So that's the hard part. All right. The other big news, earlier today, it was released of DJ Moore's contract. I did a video on that. I'm not going to go in too depth on it here, but it did free up cap space this year, a lot of cap space. So really what we're sitting at is around 21 to 25 million. After you allocate the practice squad players and some of the dead cap from cuts, it's going to be sitting right around 19 to 21 million. Over the cap and Spotrac have it at 21 right now. It could be anywhere from 19 to 23 million, depending on the moves that are made when we cut down the 53-man roster. Well, why haven't we signed Connor Williams today? It's got to be the injury history. It has to be. I'm just going to go off of my thoughts and analysis of all. It has to be the injury history. Ryan Poles does not want to put himself in another situation when you've already got an injured Nate Davis, when you've already got players coming into the season like Kieran Amagaji who are going to start on the IL or the NIL, NFI, non-football injury list, which means he'll miss the first. Now, this isn't new. This isn't me reporting this. This is my speculation. At this point, when he hasn't played or participated at all, Kieran Amagaji, it's basically like a redshirt year for him, and this is how I see it going down. With the needs that we have on the line, I absolutely see us starting him in the season on the NFI list, which means he misses the first 4 games. But as soon as we cut down the 53-man roster, as long as he's designated the day that we cut down the roster, they can immediately take him off the next week, and he still has to miss the first 4 games, and we have the extra roster spot allocated. So that's what I see happening with Kieran Amagaji. I see him on the cut downs being the 54th guy because of the non-football injury list, opening up an extra space, and then him basically redshirting through the rest of, camp's basically over at that point, but through the first 4 games, getting him up to speed, and then, working him in slowly in game situations when we're blowing out teams like the Panthers, where he can come in the 3rd and 4th quarter. So that's what I see there. But it overstresses the situation of why we haven't gotten to Connor Williams, because you've got an injured Kieran Amagaji. You've got an injured Nate Davis. You've got an injured Tevin Jenkins sometimes. Who knows how much he's going to play this year. So that makes it difficult to pull the trigger on a guy that just came off his second injury that's major on his ACL. Now he's healthy. He's negotiating between the Seahawks and the Ravens. Is that true? Well, we know he visited the Seahawks and he had A good visit, and he had a physical that was performed well. I think his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, really used the Ravens as leverage to try to get more teams involved. He's openly said, I don't want to play guard. I want to play center. So could Ryan Poles be in the mix right now for obsessive Connor Williams watch? I'm going to say, okay, yeah. We'll say yeah, because I want it. But the reality is I don't think Ryan Poles is going to make any moves into these first couple games of preseason. I think he's going to see how these guys do, because really the Hall of Fame game, we watched our third and fourth stringers. That's the and rookies and undrafted free agents that could be second stringers that just need the reps, that need to see, like Reddy Stewart, Leon Jones, Carl Jones Jr., Austin Booker. Like those guys are going to be difference makers this year, but you needed to see some reps from them to start the year off. Now, as we get into these next games, that's when, if Nate Davis isn't playing in the game against Buffalo, that's worrisome. If you have Coleman Shelton going down, if you have something happening with some of these guys where they get injured in that game, that's where you're going to see a move triggered. But right now, we sit between 19 and we'll say 23 million, roughly. I mean, it's vague until we know what the cut downs are on the 53-man roster. But that's where we stand now because of the way DJ Moore restructured his contract. And I didn't think we had any place to restructure contracts. And then Ryan Poles, never not sleeping Poles, goes out and proves, hold my beer, I'm going to go ahead and go do this and free us up some cap space. But it did show that we're definitely going to do something this year. We're definitely going to sign someone else. It's not going to be, it better not, guys, it better not be a Yannick Ngakoue. That would ruin all potential for Austin Booker, for Jacob Martin. But with Jacob Martin hurt, that's where, so here I am, back and forth with Swifty a little bit on Yannick, and I'm feeling pretty confident, 95% we're not going to sign Yannick. But then you see Jacob Martin get hurt, and Jacob Martin and Austin and Yannick Ngakoue are the exact same type of player, with Jacob Martin being a better pass rusher, but more of the same style of play. But so then the thoughts start creeping in that we might make a stupid move like signing Yannick Ngakoue. It stresses the freaking crap out of me. Let's get to some of the chat here. Connor Williams takes us from complete uncertainty at the IOL position to clear starters and backups at all three positions. Completely agree. If we signed him, that would make everybody so much more relaxed on this whole roster situation. Let's pull up right here. Here's the dates, but here's the offense, but here's the roster as it stands right now. Now, is this who it's going to be? I don't know. In fact, I changed it back and forth for fun. My overreaction to the Hall of Fame game, I changed it, but that's kind of where it stands right now. And they said Nate Davis would be the starter if he's healthy. Ja'Tyre Carter was the backup last year. I can see Bill Murray getting the nod over him with the way they praised him, the game he had in the Hall of Fame game. He had 27 opportunities to block, and he was perfect. Not a single pressure allowed, and I love to see that. Creighton, if you join a little bit late, I have said we're going to be right somewhere between 19 and 23 million. That's where we stand right now. So plus or minus right around there. It's just going to depend on the cups that we make on the 53-man roster. We can go over that real quick. I wanted this to be 15, 20, 30 minutes as I wait for the hard knocks to come out, because I'm really just sitting here probably like you guys, just brewing, waiting, like anticipation, like going nuts, stir crazy, trying to make some snacks, trying to do different things, trying to think of ideas for this, and frustrated. Is that with or without $7 million season? I don't know what you mean by $7 million. I think you mean the reserve. That's including the reserve. So that just depends on. So I take about $4 million for practice squad players, and then he's going to want to have some in-season stuff. I would say with the reserve, we're going to be sitting somewhere. We've got probably 15 million spendable of that. Okay. Probably 15 million spendable. The rest you would want to hold for the season. So Kieran's going to start on the IL, and that's NFI, whatever you want to call it. That's how I see that. And that really has Matt Pryor, Bill Murray stepping in there. Maybe Jerome Carvin, because he sees some flexibility there at center. Either way, it looks good, but I'd like to see, just like you're saying, Bruja, if we upgrade with Connor Williams, that instantly puts us as one of the top 10 lines in the league, as long as healthy. I mean, you're not gonna catch up to the Lions this year. You're not going to catch up to their offensive line with Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell. I mean, they're just loaded from top to bottom. They're going to have problems with that in a couple of years when their salary cap comes up. So we're built young, we have to keep drafting to make this work. Next year, Bryce Foster from Texas A&M is who I'd really like to see with our late second round pick at center. That's what I would like to see. And then continue to develop. We have enough room in cap space that we can go out and sign a good guard next year, cut Nate Davis, only eat $2 million of that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this line shakes out, to see what really happens on it. But we do have the cap space. That's the thing everyone wants to talk about. So, but am I overstressed about Nate Davis at this point? No. If you go on Twitter, if you listen to creators, there's panic, and there shouldn't be panic at this point in the offseason. There shouldn't be panic for where we are, because just like Matt Eberflus said today, this is the point in the offseason where you're putting the reps in and you're getting guys experience in practice and you're bringing it together. I mean, from the Panthers to the Patriots to the Niners to the Chiefs, every team's doing the same thing right now. And the reality is, just like they said, every team is 0-0 right now. Every team's on a level playing field. The Lions, the Packers, the Bears, the Vikings, no team is leading the division. Every team is 0-0. And no, the Hall of Fame game and preseason games don't count. They don't matter. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. If we go 4-0 or if we go 1-3, it doesn't matter. It doesn't at all. What matters is the cohesion the team is building. And as they move, it's a ramp up to move into the season. So am I overstressed about Nate Davis right now? No. Is my stress level on 1 to 10 would be a 3, just because I want to see him out there. It's not 0. It's not 1. Because I want to see him out there. I want to see him participating. I want to see him building cohesion. But I think to him, too, there might be some overcaution because of the injuries that he has had. So this is a time where he's being more reserved. I don't know. You can only justify it so much. All right. No, I don't see this, Cliff. Would other teams be interested in trading for Davis? The Bears pay part of the salary. I mean, any team will pay if you pay, but that's not worth it, is the Bears. Again, guys, the depth of this team. Even if Davis doesn't start, if Ryan Bates moves in there, who's played really quality at guard, you need quality depth. And Nate Davis is a really high-level player. It's just that comment shows we're overstressed about it. We're overstressed about where this team stands. All right, let's go back to some of the news and rumors of where things stand with the team. Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about.
Yeah, he's great. He's like
Caleb.
He's like a big brother,
and
like one of my best friends on the team so far, and things like that. So, we talk every day. We hang out. We were at the hotel before he got his place. Before I got my place, we were at the hotel playing cards every day, building that bond, building that trust, talking about football.
They'll nab me and get mad at me and stuff. The fight for Malik Neighbors, yeah, Romo Dunze to me is my favorite for the whole thing. Devin Hester. All right, let's see if there's any other. Here's the preview for Hard Knocks. Here's Matt Eberflus talking with Nick Saban, talking about the expectations and how expectations are a killer. But here's the thing, guys. I'm going to take this off of here. Here's the thing you have to realize with Caleb Williams. I'm going to do my sit back. Guys, I was the biggest critic of Caleb Williams. Do you guys realize that? Do most people realize that? Do people realize that I was so hard on Caleb because of that national media narrative? Because of the way the LA media, because of the way they're hard on these first-round picks, because of the way they are. And I was defending Justin Fields, straight up. That's what I was doing. And now it's fun. It's fun to take your victory laps because who knows if I was right or not yet. We'll see. I don't think Justin Fields will start the season as number one because it's one of those things where they promised it to Russell Wilson. But he's shown in training camp what happens when you're not under Luke Getsy. And if you're not paying attention, right, seriously, like an eighth of a mile directly from my house right here is the Raiders practice facility. And the buzz around this town and the buzz on Twitter is how poorly Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew are performing in their preseason. And they've even let slip that the playbook is overcomplicated, that Luke Getsy's making them change things, and it's making it difficult to adapt to. Now, when players start voicing those things openly, it's clear what the issue was. Not going to dive too deep into that. This is about Caleb Williams, but I'm not wrong on Justin Fields. He's a top 15 quarterback in the league, but the difference is, and if you didn't see that video, I put that video out recently. The difference is he ran out of rookie quarterback clock. And he wasn't top 10 in the league yet. If he was performing like Jared Goff, if he was performing like Lamar Jackson, if he was putting up those types of numbers, there's no doubt we would have kept him. But the reality was he got put in a tough situation, and now he's going somewhere where Art Smith and Mike Tomlin can let him be him. If you didn't see Mike Tomlin's interview, Mike Tomlin said he's one of those natural guys. You just got to let him be himself. And he's performing really well. And I get it's training camp. I get that. I get that it's 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s, and you're not getting hit and blah, 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 blah. But we've seen him do it at the highest level. He's going to be fun to watch this year. I'm going to enjoy watching him as well. Now, as we pivot and we watch Caleb Williams, I was one of the biggest critics. So the fact that I've come around and now I'm one of the biggest advocates that don't duck. This kid's going to be special. This kid could take us to the Super Bowl. Like, as you pivot that, wait, Hard Knocks is on? In an hour, right? You guys are dashing my dreams right now. Connor Williams signed it. It was supposed to be in the next 48 to 72 hours. All right, someone tell me if Hard Knocks is on, because I think it's in an hour, and I'm trying to buy time until then. Okay. Yeah, 8 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock my time. We got 54 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon, but my goodness, you scared the crap out of me, brother. Woo! All right, back to Caleb Williams. The biggest things, and I'm going to reiterate this over and over and over again because some people aren't looking into these. Guys, I did a whole video on it just barely. On 3rd and 4th down, unstoppable. In the 4th quarter, unstoppable. In the red zone, unstoppable. And then when you watch him in training camp and you watch the way his peripheral scans the field, when you watch him on dead plays, when you watch him on plays that are falling apart, let's go back here and find one. Caleb Williams. Blah, blah, blah. Great guy. All right, here's the one from today. I mean, watch. And the only one that falls apart, look over here. That's Ryan Bates, Coleman Shelton, Tevin Jenkins, Braxton Jones. Larry Borum's the only one's not the starting five. And you guys know I am not a fan of Larry Borum at all. And the only one that falls apart here is Larry Borum. And of course, he's being defended by, or he's being opposed by Montez Sweat. So that's hard. But watch the way he scans the field. Watch the way he doesn't just automatically take off and run. His drop back is quick. Watch how fast he gets back in the pocket, too. Watch how fast his drop back is. All right, snap, boom, boom, boom. He's there. That's so much quicker than Justin Fields. Scans it, doesn't panic, puts it right on place. I mean, he's just so much different. It is very different to watch him. He looks like Peyton Manning. He looks like Aaron Rodgers. He looks like Pat Mahomes. He really does. And it's not just like, I understand why people made those comparisons now. Like, look at him scan the field right there. Not panicking, not panicking. I mean, obviously, these are highlights. I get that. There's going to be some bad plays, but his bad plays aren't horrible plays. So I'm really impressed with Caleb. I think his maturity is light years beyond. I really think he's going to be special. So I'm not ducking it. I really think I mean, he's special, guys. I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm not the foremost quarterback analyst, but I know enough to look at their metrics, to watch some film, and to understand. I understood Justin Fields' weaknesses. I understood when he couldn't read the third option because he was too panicked with that peripheral. The same thing I'm just talking about. He would take off and run, and that was a strength in certain respects. In certain regards, that would be a strength. Other times, if the play was designed just right, the thing I loved, his accuracy, a bullet. I mean, one of the best deep ball passers in the league when the play didn't fall apart. But the nice thing was, to me, when the play fell apart, his accuracy was still there. He just took off and ran a little bit too much. He took a few too many sacks, but he evaded a lot of sacks too. With Caleb, you don't see as much panic. You don't see the stress. It looked like Justin was stressed. With Caleb, you don't see stress. He seems cool, calm, collected. Seems like he's built for this. He seems like he's prepared. And so that's what I like about Caleb. I really am excited to watch. And they're going to air it out. The biggest thing, last thing, Last thing. I was going to keep this to a half hour. We're going to shift because I want to get to one more thing. The last thing, and you don't on the Monsters of the Gridiron with Samo and Will Wright and all those guys at Fairly New Podcast. I was just in this chat bar, and I mentioned one thing, and then they brought it up and they started talking about it. It's the only time I've seen it talked about because I brought it up in the chat bar. If you guys didn't notice the difference in the Hall of Fame game already, and they're holding some of it back with Shane Waldron's offense, it is night and day from Luke Getsy. Those tight ends look spectacular as third, fourth, fifth stringers because of the way he play designs. He gets guys wide open. This is what you see in Green Bay. Green Bay does not have a special team. They have special coaches. The Lions have good players and above average coaches. That's why the Lions do well. The Packers do well with crappy players, average players, below average players. Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, Dante, like their players are not special. It's the way they're play called and designed. You just watched third and fourth stringers for the Bears carve up the defense of the Texans last Saturday because of Shane Waldron. Already, case in point, we made the right move. We got an offensive coordinator that can now play call and put us in position to win games. Not just, I mean, add that to the talent. Nobody disputes when it comes to the Bears that Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson, Gerald Everett, Cole Kmet. Nobody disputes that is a stacked core, that those guys on offense are going to be scary. Nobody disputes that. When you add to that play calling, that's when things get really scary. That's why this team could be super special this year. You're going to see a team that not only keeps teams below 20 points per game, which there were only 7 in the league last year, but you're going to see consistently 25-plus points a game. And that's what's going to make this team special. All right. Here we go. Yeah, I think a lot of you guys are talking about the Connor Williams. You guys just announced it to me, or I haven't seen it. All right, obsessive Connor Williams watch is over. I kind of said anyways, that's what's going to happen is we're going to run into the preseason games with Ryan Bates, Coleman Shelton, Nate Davis, and see how it goes. Now, I mean, and it doesn't mean we're necessarily going to sign someone else either. We could extend Keenan Allen with some of this money. We could extend Jack Sanborn. We could extend Khalil Herbert. We could extend some of these guys. I mean, there's not many. But this team, compared to other teams next year, we don't have expiring contracts now. We've got very few major players gone. We're going to draft, and we're going to sign a huge signing as well. All right. There is no center available on the market. There is no center available left. There's no one left. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Greg. I was thinking he wanted $10 million. And yes, Shane Waldron is an elite play caller. Yeah, last thing. Velus Jones makes freaking sense. He's always been a Deebo Samuel, okay? If you can get him a couple of screenplays in the passing game, that fits his game. If you can get him as a kick returner, that fits his game. Punt return even fits his game. Guys, I know he had a couple muffs. That was a couple years ago. He doesn't have that. The problem is when he's tracking the ball as a receiver, when he gets to the end zone, has to turn around and find the ball, that's where the problem is. The problem isn't his ability to grab the ball when it's scripted and super easy. Kick returning, he's going to be our number one kick returner, 100%. Even Matty Eberflus mentioned his kick returning today and he talked about this in the press conference today. Talked about a good fit for him. If you guys didn't watch the highlights of last year for him, he scored the touchdown against the Vikings. That might have been 2 years ago, actually. Down the sideline, like 40, 50 yards. And each time they did that jet sweep out to the side, like he picks up steam so fast, and he's got a running back body. He's over 200 pounds. 4.31 speed, and he's not the guy that – it's not like he's the guy where it takes 20 yards to get up to speed on the 40-yard dash, and he has a 4.31 because he picked up 20 yards of speed, and then the second 20 is where he took off. He has burst right off the line of scrimmage. So you sweep him the ball, and he was going – I think his average was 9 yards per carry. So you get him the ball, and Luke Getsy would do that, and it went well. Okay, we're not going to do that again. They saw it worked, so we're too afraid to do that again because we're afraid that they might pick up on it and stop it. Unlike the screen calls where they knew it was coming 15 times a game. So, yeah, I really like him as a running back. I like him listed as a wide receiver, as a hybrid. I've said I want us to carry 7 wide receivers this year. In fact, if you go here, I think it makes sense to have him and Colin Johnson, as well as maybe DeAndre Carter as the 7th wide receiver. And then Travis Homer probably be cut. This is not my official depth chart of what I think will happen. I think we could have Brennan Bates make the team with the tight end schemes that we just saw from Shane Waldron. You're going to see more of that in camp. Those tight end schemes, the way that he is able to play call and get guys open, it's next level. This is Packers type stuff. This is stuff that you want to see for the Bears. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So I do think Colin Johnson's a lock to make this team. I think Bayless is a lock. Whether they list him as wide receiver or running back doesn't matter to me, because I think he takes that 7th wide receiver spot / 5th running back spot, whatever you want to call it. I think his primary role will be kick returner, and then Deebo Samuel type of sweeps out of the backfield / screens out of the backfield. It makes the most sense for him and his play style, his size, his big body size. They talk about the kick returns and how you're going to see more running backs. That was more evidence than anything with Tyler Scott this first game. When you see Tyler Scott, he looked like a freaking rag doll. You're going to see more running back style bodies back there taking the kick returns on the initial kickoff. They find a seam, teams start adapting and playing to it and letting their true playbook come out. If you get a single gap on those guys, you see some of them staggering it. Some guys going forward 5-10 yards, some guys holding back, so they have 2 different lines of defenders. They're going to have to do that with Bayless, and that's automatically going to get him past that first line at least and give us that extra 10 yards of field position. He averaged 27 yards this last year, one of the highest in the league. So when you got someone like Bayless that has running backs or wide receiver speed and a running back body over 200 pounds, he's big bodied, and he can plow through guys, he's going to be a weapon on this team. So I absolutely love Bayless Jones on this team, 100%. Cliff Victoria nailed it. Don, I don't know if you know, we're not talking about the Lions on this channel. I mean, I bring them up in all due respect, but yeah, Komet, Everett, Mercedes, 100%. There's a lot of guys that are locks. So there are a lot of locks. If you look at this top 2 rows, those are all locks in my opinion. Really, Khalil Herbert's a lock. Ian Wheeler, Travis Homer are not locks. Those are really the only 2 on this of all the playmakers that aren't locks. I think Brennan Bates has a very legitimate shot to make this team. DeAndre Carter has a very legitimate shot with his wide receiver experience plus his return ability, especially punt return ability. Very, very solid there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. No, Michael, I don't actually play Madden, but I agree with you. I saw the ratings. They're disrespectful. Also, the top 100, completely disrespectful. A lot of players have talked about that, especially Jalen Johnson not getting listed on the top 100. And players like Jair Alexander being on the top 100 when he was 124th in the entire league with 124 NFL passer rating against him. It's one of the worst. I can't justify any of that crap. So, all right, guys, we're 40 minutes away from Hard Knocks. I'm going to love every second of it. I don't know if I'll get on and post something on it, guys. I'm just going to enjoy it like the rest of you guys. I'm going to have my popcorn ready. I'm going to be freaking stoked. But here's my main message today on the live. Is it Tuesday? I guess this is kind of Free Talk Tuesday live. I did one yesterday for Monday, but don't panic right now. Like, other teams aren't panicking either. I mean, every fan base panics, but the team's not panicking. Nate Davis, not worth panicking over right now. Ryan Bates, Coleman Shelton, we want to see what they do in games before we go out and find someone else. I really want to report on some really good things after Saturday's game as far as pass blocking efficiency and how they held up for Caleb. And I'm really excited to see right out the gate how the play calls are schemed for him to be able to hit some of those tight ends, to be able to hit DJ on an out route, to be able to hit Rome on a deep threat. Like, it's going to be a lot of fun. So enjoy Hard Knocks. Enjoy everything that comes this week. I will be back with you guys, of course. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, Go Bears.